Hey there, swamp heads. Here it is. It's Swamp Thing, The Bronze Age, Volume 3. This is the last of the Bronze Age Swamp Thing volumes, and let's just get right into it. The first thing that struck me about this particular volume is I can't remember so many of the previous stories having this much continuity. This is sort of a lot of this is a big chunk of an overall arc, and for that reason, your mileage may vary. Me personally, I think I prefer the more self-contained 1 to 2 issue story arcs. I like the sort of serialized adventure format. Swamp Thing goes here, fights some sort of monster, goes there, fights some sort of monster. It's basically this basically has the same format except with a broader, overarching sort of mythology running through it. And again, your mileage may vary because so the overall arc is sort of biblical in nature, and I find sort of biblical takeoffs just kind of lazy at this point. You've how many iterations, how many convoluted, like, here are the warrior angels and here's the evil demon and here's the apocalypse, and it's all some sort of broad takeoff into like a biblical fan fiction, and I don't know, for me that stuff gets kind of tired. So the plot of this is, and part of it sort of seems like real seat of the pants. A lot of it doesn't seem necessarily planned beforehand. I don't know if that's the case or not. This was by the majority of this is by Martin Pascal as the writer, and I don't know if Tom Yates was the majority artist. Who did a lot of the art for this? I guess it was Tom Yates for a lot of it. So a lot of it seems very seat of the pants. So he meets this little girl, and there's some mystery surrounding this little girl. She has these powers, and that part was fun up until they actually like revealed what was going on. That's when I started really losing interest. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The best thing about a mystery is just sort of the build up, and half the time a mystery just sort of, as soon as what's going on in your mind, like the vague notion you have, the vague sense of mystery is oftentimes just more exciting than what ends up being the case. So she's some sort of demon that's going to usher in the apocalypse, and it's a little bit convoluted. It's a little bit sloppy. Like, she's not the demon herself, but she's stealing other people's mutant powers for something. It's a little messy, in my opinion. That's sort of a big problem. Is like, it's all sort of one big arc for the most part, and a lot of it is sort of just messy and seat of the pants. But within that, you do have your little sort of serialized adventures. So he fights a golem. There's sort of some little parallels with the golem and Swamp Thing. It's not really touched on too much, but you sort of get the inference. The one I liked was he goes to this village, and I think this is actually after. Yeah, I think why I like this one is it's after the sort of main arc. Is he goes to this village, and they just don't really see him as a monster, and it turns out that they're all like monsters wearing magic masks, and I thought that one was fun. Let's see what else here. He meets the Phantom Stranger. There's a man who's turned into a crystal. There's Crystal Man. He's like a part. This is when computers were like, whoa, computers, microchips. So he's like a silicone computer microchip man, and that's very topical. That's very now. That's very hip. The art, I like the art for this stuff. Again, it's very I don't know if it would be like house style, but from Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein all to Stephen Bissette, who sort of shakes things up a bit. The art is all sort of very uniformly good. Uniformly good. Just you can't really complain. The anatomy, the action, it's all very fun and easy to follow. Very also okay. So another big thing. I think this is where I started getting, and then part of it is just like not. Part of it is just sort of the nature of serialized storytelling that it's hard to remember. If you haven't read the previous volume, like months, if it was months between one and the other, it's hard to remember, like keep things straight. But it's hard for me to keep track of a lot of Swamp Thing's supporting cast at a certain point. He meets this doctor who like thinks he has superpowers but doesn't. I can't remember if he met this lady Liz Tremaine in this arc or if we met her in some time along volume 2, and the supporting cast just kind of gets bloated, and I don't remember what happened to everybody else. Like, where did Matt Cable and Abigail Arcane go? I don't remember because it was so long between me reading one and the other. This story was okay. He meets these guys who are essentially Vietnam vets, and they were given the power to sort of influence matter over with their mind. And so, one thing is like there's a lot of discussion going on about comic books these days of like, comics are too political, or comics have always been political, and this is certainly an instance where you could point to this and say, like, yes, this is an instance where comics have always been political. There's a lot of talking about Vietnam, a lot of back and forth about, the vets come home and they're mistreated. This dame says they're overreacting. And while this would be an example of, yes, comics have always been political, this would also sort of support the other argument, I would think, because this, I don't know, it just felt sort of heavy-handed and just like a little like the writer is stopping the story to have this little have the characters as mouthpieces for some sort of back and forth. And there's other similar, like the Doctor, where was it? There's stuff with the concentration camps and the Nazis and all sorts of stuff. And it's all sort of like, again, it's sort of heavy-handed. I don't know if superhero comic books are the best venue for talking about the Holocaust or Nazi experiments or whatever. I don't think fun adventure superhero stories can bear the weight of like these kind of serious topics. It's just sort of like, I don't know whether the writers don't have the ability to communicate it properly, or it's just the nature of the medium. As far as like, if you wanted to point to this and be like, oh, comics have always been political, I don't know if this would be the best, most persuasive argument in favor of continuing this sort of marriage between, very overt political commentary and superhero action beat 'em ups. I don't know. But I don't know. Again, I like this vampire story goes to the again before it gets into like the whole overarching apocalypse mythos. I really was into it, and then it just sort of slowed down a bit. But it wasn't bad. Overall it wasn't bad. If you're coming in for some Swamp Thing times, some good fun comfy Swamp Thing times, you're really not going to be disappointed. I think I like this better than Volume 2 overall. Maybe. I don't know for sure. But I just I don't know. It was better. I think it was less like, I think Volume 2 sort of strayed into more like Swamp Thing was doing these hokey like superhero quips, like he was like, I don't know, just any other, like he was Green Arrow or any other superhero. Like Swamp Thing shouldn't be a quipster. But anyway, here towards the end of old Volume 3 here, you get into the Stephen Bissett art, which then transitions into the Alan Moore run. So this takes you right up to the to the Alan Moore era. I think Loose Ends is after this, and so that's fun. I think I went back and forth. I think I read. So when I first started reading the Swamp Thing, I think I might have read the Alan Moore run first. I might have read Volume 1, the Len Wein, Bernie Wrights and stuff first. I don't remember. But anyway, so I might go back and read the first trade paperback of Alan Moore's run and just sort of get a handle of where the continuity lines up. Oh, and then at the end, you got a big recap. It's like an adaptation of the Wes Craven movie. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, honestly. I thought this was going to be more of a chore. I like the movie just fine. I mean, it's certainly different, but, I like it just fine. But I thought the comic adaptation was going to be a bit of a chore, but it wasn't really. It was kind of fun. You get a cartoonly rendered Adrian Barbeau. You get, I forget that guy's name. He was great in the film. You get this guy. He was scared. He scared me in the movie, man. Anyway, I think that's it. Just good stuff. Just good. Just I don't know. Again, if you're a swamp head like me, it's more of a great Swamp Thing adventures. But I guess the overall the sort of multi-issue apocalypse arc does sort of set the stage for Alan Moore's sort of deeper dive into the mythology and the powers and the sort of overall mood and tone of Swamp Thing. I guess maybe it helps sort of solidify that sort of supernatural element. But overall, I just could have I don't know. I think I prefer the 1 to 2 stories self-contained. I guess it's just me. I find biblical fan fiction sort of lazy and boring at this point. Okay, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.